So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a bit of advice on how to increase the growth of the plants in your aquarium. So stay around to the end of the video to make sure you listen to all the tips I have to give you. Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Kingfish Simple. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a bit of advice on how to increase the growth of your plants in your aquarium. And I've got some plants in here that I've been growing pretty fast for the species that they are. And I'm going to show you guys all the things that I know about growing plants in an aquarium today. And I'm going to show you guys some tips on how to make sure that those plants are growing as fast as they can and as healthy as they can. So make sure you stay around to the end of the video to listen to the tips I have to give you. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already seen some of my content, I make lots of aquarium related information videos as well as some entertaining ones, so please consider subscribing. Alright, without any further ado, let's get started on the video. So when it comes to growing aquarium plants, there's four main things that you really need to focus on, and those are all the variables in the aquarium. So those four variables are the lighting, the nutrients, the substrate, and the CO2. So those are the important factors when growing any kind of aquarium plant in your tank. So today I'm going to focus on those four topics and try and explain the ways to optimize these four factors in your aquarium. So the first thing is fertilizers. Now fertilizers are awesome when it comes to growing aquarium plants, and normally when we buy aquarium fertilizers, they're from big chain companies like Fluval, and basically what you can buy is liquid formed or tablet formed aquarium fertilizers, and the tablet forms go into the substrate and the liquid ones you just pour into the aquarium. Now all these fertilizers have a lot of different minerals and nutrients in there that are really beneficial to growing any aquarium plant. So it's important that you are giving your plants the nutrients they need. So especially with some sensitive plants like the ones that need a lot of CO2, it's really important that you have a good fertilizer in there to make sure that they're getting the nutrients they need so that they can develop the strength and colors that they need. So fertilizers are an easy way to increase the growth of easy to grow aquarium plants like Wisteria that I have down in here, and Anubias and Java Moss and Java Fern that I have up in here. And that's simply because the plants will just use up those extra nitrates and ammonia and whatever's in the fertilizer to just increase their growth. So as a side note, it's also important to note that if you can match the proper aquarium plant with the proper fertilizers and nutrients that it needs, you can actually increase the coloring of the plant a lot more. So if you match a high iron content fertilizer with a plant like Rotala Wallichi, you'll actually increase a lot of red coming out of that plant and create a beautiful looking display. So that's just a side note. That's something that I've learned over the couple of years that I've been doing a lot of aquarium plants, and I hope that you guys have learned something from that. So the second thing is lighting. If you have intense lighting in an aquarium, it's very good for the plants because plants use a process called photosynthesis to grow. So if you have intense lighting in an aquarium, it can use the light energy to increase the photosynthesis processes and in turn create a faster plant growth. It's important to note that you don't have the aquarium lights on all the time. The recommended timing for an aquarium plant, an aquarium light, is 8 to 12 hours a day. If you go over that, you'll probably see a lot of algae growth and a lot of other nasty stuff. So it's important to note that you're not going over that, but if you increase the lighting in an aquarium, that is definitely beneficial to the plants in the aquarium. So too much lighting can sometimes stress fish out, but normally it won't. If you can get that optimal range of lighting, that's really important. But if you don't have any lighting in the aquarium, I'm guaranteeing you will not be able to grow any aquarium plants, and especially not fast. It's also important to note that you can make an aquarium look a whole lot better with really good lighting. I've noticed that if I have a dull aquarium, it often creates a dull display, and I try and make sure that I get the best quality lighting that I can. Unfortunately, I can't afford that at the moment. It's a bit too expensive for the hobby that I'm trying to run at the moment. But if you have lots of expensive bright lights, they look really stunning in the aquarium. Also, you have to note that the display doesn't have to be expensive. That's just for the best quality lighting. But I use a lot of cheap lights like the one I have up here, and they work perfectly fine for growing easy to grow aquarium plants. So the third thing is substrate. Substrate's really good for creating good rooting in an aquarium plant. If you have plants that require rooting like Wisteria, Bacopa, a bunch of other things, it's really important that you have a good substrate. So you can buy special quality substrates from companies like Fluval. I know I don't use them, but I know they make a lot of like Amazonia kind of things, and those are full of nutrients and they're super good for creating massive aquascapes, aquariums, and growing plants to get that pure green color out of them. So it's important to note that you can really increase the growth of aquarium plants by starting up a substrate from the very start when you start the aquarium that's full of nutrients and is perfect for the aquarium. It's important that plants have really good rooting too, because that's where they get all the nutrients from. So the substrate will definitely help with getting healthy roots out of your plants. So the fourth thing is CO2. CO2 is really important for every plant because that's their main source of energy. It's really hard to get CO2 into aquarium water because it has to be dissolved in. So quite often sensitive species of aquarium plants will have trouble growing in aquariums without injected CO2. Injected CO2 is quite a complicated thing for beginners, and I definitely wouldn't recommend branching out into any of that unless you've been in the aquarium hobby for a while and you've made all the little beginner mistakes. But CO2 is a very expensive process, but it 100% is the quickest way to grow aquarium plants, and will 100% make the aquarium plants grow so much faster if you have that CO2 in there. So that's the fourth tip. I don't use CO2 in any of my aquariums because it's just too expensive, and it's just another thing to maintain. If you want to try doing CO2, I definitely recommend trying it. It's expensive, but the yields and the reward from putting CO2 into an aquarium is unbelievable. So I've used it in the past and I've just seen outstanding results. So without any further ado, so thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. My channel's been growing heaps lately, and it's all because of you guys. I really appreciate all the comments and all the feedback that you guys give me, and I especially appreciate all the people just commenting positive things on the videos and sharing this with their friends, and it means so much to me. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.